What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Torrence, and in today's video we are going colorful. If you've already checked out the title, you know today we're playing with the FaceFX and we're going to do a first impressions on their business palette. The FaceFX is a brand that I've tried out for the very first time within the past year, and I've been loving every single product that I've got from them. But I saved this palette for last because it had the least amount of votes. But truth be told, it was the one I was most excited for because my two favorite type of eyeshadows are matte blacks and matte greens. And the fact that it has both of them here got me going. But when I saw that matte orange, I'm like, sis, why you have to mess up a good thing? Why you couldn't put like a yellow or a brown or something like that? Why you gotta, play with my emotions? Blues and oranges just, nah, sis, we don't do that. But the FaceFX ain't never let me down. And if Phoebe Scott say this is a good shadow, we're going to go ahead and take her word for it. But we got to put it to the test. So if you want to know exactly how I achieved this look and if this palette is worth buying, just go ahead and continue to watch. But before we get started, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button. If you already have, I would like to say thank you. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this tutorial. Alright, you guys, today I am truly excited to finally do my first impressions on the business palette by the FaceFX. When I received my first PR package, I had two different palettes to choose from, so I'll let you all vote on which palette I use first. And even though the Moods palette won by one vote, I had to make sure I came back and did another tutorial because the votes were so close. And if you all would like to see the tutorial on the Moods palette, you can check that out right here. But today we are playing with the business palette, and once again we have a beautiful ratio of 3 mattes and 1 shimmer, so we'll have no problem today creating an entire eye look knowing that we have colors deep enough for our crease and our outer V. But before we get started, I wanted to not only give you a close-up of this palette, but also give you swatches. And this is a close-up of the palette here. As you can see, it has beautiful dark jewel tone colors that I absolutely love. Here is a close-up view of the swatches. They are extremely pigmented and I am loving it. Left to right, starting on the top row of the palette, we have our first shimmer shade, which is called Deals Over Meals. Next, we have the first and only matte orange shade, which is called Not Personal, Just Business. The third shade is a matte green called Money Talks. And the fourth and last shade is a matte black that has sparkles in it. Although even here up close on the swatch, you can barely tell that they are there. And that shade is called Dotted Line. Ooh, girl, thank you for telling me to fill in my brows because I completely forget. And per usual, all tools and products that I use in today's video will be in the description bar below. So make sure you check that out. And just like any other day, I am headed to work, so I need to hurry up and get started with today's tutorial. Because our matte shades on the bottom half of this palette appear to be the two darkest ones, we're going to go into this matte orange shade, Not Personal, Just Business, and use that as a transition shade. And with this color, I ain't going to lie to y'all, we're going to tread lightly, simply because you already know, oranges don't do it for me. But we want to play with every color in the palette, and we're going to give everything its fair shot. So we're going to start off with a light layer of this, bringing it from the outside on in, and we're going to buff and build and blend that out. And you can already see, even with a very light layer, this color is bringing pigmentation, sis. And because I'm using this as a transition instead of the main color, I think this may be the only layer we put into the crease. We'll just have to diffuse this out really nicely. Because you can easily tell that can go on the lid or in the crease by itself. But we want this to be a nice, soft, and seamless blend. Take your time, diffuse your edges. This right here with the transition shade, we hit this down. If we put this down correctly, it'll make blending our crease shade that much easier. And I always have just a little difficulty right here on the outer half because I have a bone right there. And so I just like to spend a little extra time getting that out the way. Bam! We're going to go ahead and do this on the other side, and I'll be right back. Baby, look at the way that blended out. That color is coming up so high and it is so pigmented, I am in love. Oranges ain't my favorites, but I give credit when something is buildable and blendable, regardless what color it is. To me, this is what's going to make or break the look. Taking this matte green shade, Money Talks, and blending this into the crease. If things go on pigmented and beautiful as that first shade, we in for a home run. If they start to get patchy or get muddy, it's going to tear up the whole eye look. And to make blending a little bit easier on myself, I knocked off all product off the brush because we can always go back and add more, but sometimes it's a lot harder to take away things when you put too much down. So once again, we're going to start on the outer half on the lowest part of our crease and then diffuse it up once we're satisfied with the pigmentation. Okay, we got a pigmented color here. I'm not seeing no skipping. Alright, so we'll be good with this shade. I know I can go ahead, build it up probably one more layer in the lowest part of our crease, then start to diffuse it up. That was our main concern, was making sure this actually came in. Okay, I can go back in and get another layer. Go in and build that up. Remember, we want to start in the lowest part of our crease, bringing our brush down, and once we're satisfied, you can slowly start to raise it up into the crease to diffuse those edges. You don't want to do that in the beginning when your brush is full of pigment and color. Then it can make it a little harder to diffuse those edges. Baby, look at how bold that green is and how you can still see that orange around the perimeter of that. Baby, I can't wait to hurry up and cut this crease. Just want to make sure, because green is a very dark color, you can get those edges diffused as best as possible. And now that I'm satisfied with the blend we have on this side, I'm going to jump to the other side, complete that eye, and we'll be right back. Baby, I cannot wait to cut this crease because I'm just seeing just how dark and beautiful things are about to get. So let's hurry up and get into it. So I'm going to take my NYX glitter primer and we're going to use this in our Morphe M421 brush to cut our crease. And of course, we are going to cut high, but because we have such bold colors, I also want to cut this in front of the eyelid. So let's bring this up and around. Get our basic shape going. Like I said, we want to take this as high as we can get it, baby. And once we have that, we're going to bring it in front of the eye and then connect that. Make sure you get the entire lid. Area I like to focus on is right here near the lash line. I always forget that spot, and then sometimes you can see a little gap between my lashes and my eyelid. We don't want to have that today. Alright, I'll be right back after I cut the crease on the other side. Before we cover our lid with the shimmery shade, we want to go in and fill up our outer V. And we're going to start off using the same matte green and the same brush we used for our crease. And we're just going to take this and we're going to fill up the outer V with this color. Want to make sure you have a complete layer down so that you don't have any marks. So that you don't have any patchy spots or any muddiness right there. That's down, and we'll go in and deepen that up later. Do the same thing on this side. You just packing it on. We're not really worried about blending it because we do have that glitter primer underneath it. Okay. I am liking that there. Now that we have that green shade in our outer V, we want to deepen it up the tiniest bit with this black shade called Dotted Line. And because the outer V is such a small area of the eye, what I did was go in with my brush and tap just the tip of it in a few times. And I'm going to take and knock off the excess because we can always come back in and add a little more. And we want to just place our brush right here. Basically, I want to take and start it in the middle of the outer V and sweep back. I want to make sure that this area here in the outermost point of my outer V is the darkest. But when you're using black, you don't want things to get muddy, and I don't want this black to take over the look. So I'm going to dip just one more time. And to me, that's just enough right there. I just want these to get darker, but I still want it to look green. I don't want this black to take over this look. Alright, and now I'm going to use the same shade on the other eye, and I'll be right back. And now for the best part of the eye look, the shimmer that goes on the lid, and we're going to go in with this shade here, Deals Over Meals. And I'm going to take this and we're just going to start in the inner half of the eye, and we're going to press this all over the entire lid without trying to cover up that outer V green. We want things to meet, and then we'll subtly diffuse those two together. And I want to go in with this first layer just to get everything covered, and then we'll go back in and see if a second layer gives us more pigmentation and more shine. But the one thing I am loving, as you all just saw, I was able to cover that entire lid, even though we have a high cut crease, with just one dip of the brush. We honestly don't even have to go in a second time, but because I want to see what this color looks like if we build it for you all, we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. Alright, let's see what we get, y'all. Let's see what we get. Oh yeah, you can tell there's more opacity right there. And I can see in person that it's more shine on the inner half than it is on the outer half. See if that's translating on camera. Not quite sure if you can tell on camera, but in person it is intensifying. So I want to grab just a little bit more for that outer half there. Because I want the shine to be on 10 all over the place. And we can come back in later and just subtly diffuse that. I'm going to come back in with another brush because I think diffusing it with the matte will give me a little easier blend than going in with this metallic. But for now, I'll be right back after I finish this on the other eye. Look at that, baby. We got our crease jumping real high. But what I want to do is go back in and softly diffuse the edges of my outer V. So I'm going to take my same crease brush and we're going to just lightly coat it with that green shade. Knock off as much as possible. And we're just going to use that and slightly flick back like this around the edges of that shade. For our lid, Deals Over Meals. We're just going to use that to diffuse the edges because I don't want just one harsh line sitting there right there like that. Yeah, to me, see, diffusing the edges of that just look a little bit better than coming over and seeing a sharp line. So we're going to do this side and I'll be right back. Okay, I thought I was going to have to jump cut for that part. I guess I didn't have to. And just because I want a little more green to be popping in this look, I'm going to take that same small blending brush that I used for that matte black shade. I'm just rubbing it right here on the back of my hand to try to get off as much of that black pigment off as possible. And we're just going to swirl it in that matte green real quick, knock off the excess, and then I'm going to take and blend just the very top parts of my crease here. And to me, what that's going to do is help bring just a tiny bit more green back to this look. Just simply because greens are my favorites and I love them, so we can never add too much. And I want to start near the top of this and just slowly blend it in. I want to take it almost to the center of the eye, but not thoroughly there. I'm not covering up my inner corner. As you can see, it's just slowly bringing a little more green down to this look on this side. But I want to just take it right to the front right here, but not all the way down here where my inner corner is. I just want a little more of that green to peek through right here. And you see the way that softens up and looks like a greenish gold compared to that side there. So now I'm going to just dip my brush one more time, and I'll be right back after I diffuse the edges on this side. See, that's what I'm talking about. Normally I would jump cut between sections to save us time, but these shadows are so pigmented and so blendable, I didn't even have to. I was able to do that right there with y'all watching. And considering the fact I'm loving what we got going on with the eyes right now, I'm going to cut away, finish off the face, and I'll be back to show you how we'll finish off the eyes. Back, honey, and I gotta tell you, we've had some good products and some bad products that we tested out off camera, so I gotta let you know about them. First off, we're going to start off with the good products. I'm still using the FaceFX Settle Finishing Powder. I use that to bake all over the perimeter of my face. I find that this particular color, which is the shade Chestnut, is just a tiny bit too dark to use underneath the eye, so I use my normal powder underneath the eye, but I have this everywhere else. On the eyes, because we do have green going on, I decided to switch up my eyeliner and go in with the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil. You know that's my favorite brand. And I'm wearing the shade Overdrive. This is the darkest green that I have from them, I believe, and I absolutely love this whenever I'm wearing dark green looks. I didn't want to go in with the black because I felt as if the black may add a little bit too much drama to it. And because I knew I wanted to go in with the dramatic lip, I decided to stick with this green shade. For mascara, I'm still using up the NARS Climax mascara sample that I received. I used this in a previous video, and although I like it, I've come to realize with time, it's a nice mascara, but it's nothing that I think I'm going to repurchase, but I will continue to use this one. My lashes are nice and cute, but this just isn't quite giving me the volume of my Lancome Monster Big, so I'm just going to use this one up and then keep it moving. For blush today, I knew I wanted to go in with my Becca blushes just simply because I haven't used them in quite a while, but instead of using a single, I decided to pull out my Becca and Chrissy Teigen face palette. I love the Becca palettes. I'm telling you, anytime I can get several of their products for the price of one of them, I am down for it. And this palette is full of rosy shades. It has one blush, one bronzer, and two highlighters. And I'm telling you, 99% of the time when I'm coming into this palette, I'm going in here just for this blush, Hibiscus Bloom. And the last good thing we went in with, because I generally am not a big fan of oranges, I went in with this orange lipstick. This is a liquid lipstick by Juvia's Place. It's in their matte formula in the color Soil. And I'm telling you, even though I don't like oranges, I really, really, really like this lipstick. One, because it's a matte formula, meaning it's going to dry down. I don't have to really worry about it transferring too much. And two, simply because this is the first orange lipstick that I really liked. I personally don't believe I own any orange bullet lipsticks. If for any reason I do, I didn't purchase it individually. It must have come in a set or something like that. But I do know that I have an orange lipstick palette from when I was freelancing, but I never used that one on myself. I really, really did not want this color, but I wanted to support Juvia's Place. And when I was in Ulta just shopping through their section, I noticed I had one of every single products from the brand, like one palette, one gloss, one highlighter, things like that. But I did not have a liquid lipstick. And with this being the only one they had in stock, I decided, you know what, we'll just grab it. We can play with it off camera. We don't have to wear it outside. And up until today, that's always been the point. I put it on, played with it, took it straight off, or just wore it around the house. But today we're going to wear it out because this is pretty. And I promise you, next time we're going to put a gloss on top of it to see how it goes. But because I know I'm putting a face mask on after this, we're going to leave it as is. I told y'all we was going to start with the good products. And for this one bad product that we tested out today, honey, I was completely let down because I did not know it was this bad. And that is the Natasha Denona Glow Gold palette. This here is a highlighter duo that came out, I believe, when she did her gold palette. And I'm telling you, I absolutely love that gold palette. And I love the Natasha Denona highlighter formula. So to find out she came out one that has a slightly gold hue to it, I'm like, Torrence, you gotta get it. The thing is, when I went to purchase it, I believe it was already on sale for $25. So I'm like, at that discount, I got to have it. And since then, they've dropped the price of this again. And I'm telling you, no matter how much they drop this price to, she ain't worth it. That thing there ain't nothing but a bunch of gold glitter suspended in what looks like a highlighter. Because when you swatch them, they are beautiful in the swatch. Once you get a brush and put it on the face, one side has some shine to it, but the glitter is so strong and flying all over the place that it takes over. The other side barely has any shine and has a bunch of glitter. So I tried to test them both out, put them both on. Nope, I wasn't doing that. I felt just like the Oscar award. I just looked at gold and shiny and sparkly, and I'm like, we are not headed to work with that. So I decided to go ahead and buff her normal Super Glow highlighter on top of that. This is in the shade 2. This one here, absolutely beautiful. This one, if I still had time to take it back, I would. But because I know it's way past the return date, this is either A, gonna become an eyeshadow, or B, become a paperweight, because I'm not using this on the face again. No ma'am, we're not doing that. But now that I've told you about everything we've done off camera, what we want to do now is go in and finish off our lower lash line. And because green is my favorite color, I want to go ahead and use a small pencil brush and use this to diffuse out the lower lash line. I may go back in and use that black to deepen things up, but I'm not sure right now, so we'll see what this color looks like first. And to help us get the best blend, we're going to start on the outer end where we want things to be darkest. And we're just going to slowly buff this toward the front. And considering how bold this green is, I don't think we're going to need that black. But you know, just because we don't need it don't mean we won't take it. But I want to make sure I connect this to the outer end. And I may have to go in and dip one more time. I wanted to make sure I went in very carefully. I didn't want to have too much product down. And you want to push this up as close to the lash line as possible. Okay. Let me bring this up just a little bit further right here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead, do this on the other side, and I'll be right back. Okay, honey, look at that. And considering the fact how much darker that green is than I thought it would be on the lower lash line, I don't think we'll need to go in with the black. So now we could just go in and highlight our brow bone and inner eye corners. I know I was just talking crap about never using this product again, but just before I put it up and go ahead and disinfect it and never trust it again, I want to see if this is going to come out on the inner eye corners very beautifully, because with it being sparkly right there in the center of the eye, it won't bother me. But to have a stripe of glitter right there on my cheek, we can't do that, sis. And when I tell you, I picked up an excessive amount because I really want this to be strong and beaming right there near the center of the eye. Yeah, and even right there, like, she pretty on camera, but this thing is chunky, just trying to pat it right there. Like, I ain't even trying to blend or buff you all over the place. I just want you to be a beam of light in the center of the eye, and you giving me issues. See, I'm glad I did all this now while I was already disappointed, because I would have hated to bring this out on a whole nother face and bring my mood down again. But because we gonna make sure this eye look is beautiful before we head out the door, she ain't got no choice but to act right. Gonna buff off most of this, we're gonna buff off most of this on the back of the hand, and then use that to highlight our brow bone. I ain't playing, sis. This thing is a chunky glitter. Well, I ain't gonna say a chunky glittery mess, but you can clearly look at that and tell that it's glitter. It's rather smooth, and it doesn't feel scratchy or anything. But honey, as a highlighter, I expected you to bring a little shine. And see, our inner corner is beaming, but that took way too much work to get there. Alright, now it's time to set everything, and you all know the routine. Fix Plus to give us a glowy do. All-nighter so things last all day. Cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. Gonna give this a few more seconds to dry and I'll be back to give you all my final thoughts. And this is the final look. I'm gonna go ahead, give you all the full face view of things before I give you all my final thoughts. And I'm here to tell you, the FaceFX has done it again. And what surprised me the most is I think I might like this palette the most out of all of them. That is what shocked me. When I tell you all, the Detroit palette was the first palette I tried from them, and because it has the largest variety of colors, that is the one I thought I would love the most. Just going in with these simple 4 shades here, this look has exceeded all of my expectations. First off, the fact that it has a matte green like the Detroit palette already has me going. But the fact that this has an orange, also like the Detroit palette, but the color of this one is just a little bit darker. And the fact that I finally found one that goes with this lipstick, it's like come through, honey. I am someone who really enjoys doing a matte black smoky eye, and I am more than confident that with the way that all of these shades blended out, I can go in, use this as a transition, put this on the lid and in the crease, keep it moving, especially if I use this as my highlighter for the inner eye corner, and I got my matte black going. If I just want to do something where I got just this green in the crease and put this on the lid, I can always go in with something like just a basic neutral brown shade instead of this orange shade on most days and feel more confident with it just going in with a gloss instead of a matte lipstick. But this palette here, I am loving it. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, that Mousse palette really had me feeling myself because I like cool tones. But with this one, I think it's just the simple fact that it has this orange, and I'm someone who just really generally does not like oranges, but this one is so pretty to me that I'm like, you know what, Torrence? It's compact. You could take this and fit this in your pants pocket, run out the door with it. If for any reason we weren't in the middle of a pandemic and I could go ahead, go to work without a face mask or something, I would feel comfortable just holding this in my hand and just going ahead, getting my junk done in the parking lot and being on out the door. But because I have a channel, I usually do my makeup in front of you all unless I'm testing out something where I don't want it to be a first impressions. I really want to see how good it is before I put it out there. Then I can go with those. But something like this, I'm just loving it. Like, the fact that you already have 2 of my favorite shades, green and black, already meant you were going to get just a tiny bit of favoritism. But the fact that all 4 shades are pigmented, they're blendable, they're buildable, I don't have any patchiness, and based on my experience with the formula, I'm not going to have any fading. I don't know what else to say besides when their very next palette come out, you all can truly expect me to just go ahead and purchase that. We're not going to be waiting on the brand to go ahead and say, oh, we're going to do this. Baby, I'm going to be on the hunt checking their website from now on because I want any and every single eye palette that they put out. And considering the fact I'm a big fan of using eyes and lips from the same brand, we're definitely going to be checking the brand out because they have some liquid lipsticks and lip glosses. And I really want to see what that component looks like in person because I've been on the website and it shows that once you take it off, it's like this little light bulb on the inside. So I can go ahead, touch my stuff up and have good vision. Honey, I'm about to be on it. Also, we got to give a shout out to Juvia's Place for this liquid lipstick. I know when I'm just sitting right here trying to look over there to see my collection of them, it's crazy to think I only have 2 lipstick shades from them and their liquid lipstick formula. I have this one here, and then they did a separate one in the, I believe the Wahala or the Wahala 2 bundle. It came with a mini set. One was a gloss, one was a liquid lipstick. But I want to try the other one because I believe they also have a red one. And although I think red lipstick is extremely beautiful, it scares the living mess out of me. I know everybody, why you should just do this to look beautiful? As a child who busted their lip before and had blood gushing everywhere, just the idea of seeing red around my mouth just instantly takes me back there. But we're going to try to be an adult and get past it, but I'm not going to promise y'all nothing. And because my Ulta never has the red liquid lipstick by this brand in stock, I'm going to have to just go ahead and purchase it from the website. And do not forget to never, ever, ever buy this Glow Gold Duo. I don't care if it goes down to $2, honey. Unless you plan on using this strictly as an eyeshadow, and I mean as a shimmery shade on the lid, nothing like that. Oh, I like shimmery lids in my crease. She not good for that, sis. The packaging on this is prettier than the product itself. As you saw, just trying to put that on the inner eye corner was giving me issues, so no ma'am, we're not using this ever again. But I hope you all truly did enjoy today's look. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment down below if you've ever tried anything from the FaceFX. They are an amazing indie brand based out of Detroit, and I'm telling you, you all should check out their products. I'll make sure I leave their Instagram and their website information in the description bar. And I'll also make sure I leave the video right here for when I tested out the Detroit palette. It was the very first palette launched by the brand and the very first one I tried. Because I work on a small table right here in front of the camera, the smaller something is, the more likely I am to use it because I have to be able to fit everything I want to do my makeup with right here. And a larger palette would take up more space than a smaller one. And I would rather just have 3 or 4 tiny quads right here than one large 15 or 16 pan palette. But that's all we have to talk about today. I absolutely love the look. I'm loving this powder and I cannot wait till they launch these powders. I am telling you. These finishing powders are absolutely amazing. You can see how smooth and glowy my skin is looking. As soon as they become available, the first thing I'm going to be grabbing is whatever is the lightest shade I think will go underneath the eye, because I really enjoy baking underneath the eye area. It's just that powder I feel as if would just keep things at my normal skin tone. And I like it to be just a little bit brighter there, because although I struggle with getting a full night's sleep most times, you ain't got to know that until I tell you. And once again, I hope you all truly did enjoy this video, but with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye YouTube.